Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield 3 related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way, if you would like to submit your own question, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. So the first question for today comes in from David, who asks, I'm pretty upset with how people always sit at base and wait for vehicle spawns. They never contribute to the team. I think in Battlefield 4, other than a few vehicles at spawn, the vehicles should only be able to spawn at flags. If people want a specific vehicle, they have to fight to capture the flag. This way, people who often prefer vehicles will have to participate in fighting to get into their niche. If they want to camp the spawn for a vehicle, they also have to defend the flag simultaneously. This would give flags greater meaning, like Wake Island Airfield or the AC-130 flags in Armor and Kill. So I, like you, get just as frustrated when I join a match and I see 4, 5, or even 6 guys camping the helicopter pad. I mean, they're not contributing to the fight, they're probably the reason why you're losing, and it's infuriating when that happens. But on the other hand, the reason why DICE does this is for balancing reasons. So if you allocated all of the vehicle resources on specific capture points, it could lead to a lot of problems. So let's say you join a match and the enemy team captures all of the points except for one. So now they have, let's say it's Caspian Border, so they have all the jets, they have all the helicopters, all the tanks, you know, except for maybe your one capture point. And it's not going to be very long until they just destroy everything on your one point because they have so much tank, they have so much vehicle firepower behind them, you're not going to stand a chance. But with the system that's currently in place, while you do have people camping those points, you still have access to the powerful vehicles like the helicopters and jets, and hopefully you can then push out and make your way onto other objectives. But if all the resources were allocated for all those points, then you're gonna get a lot of steamroll games, more than you do right now, simply because one team would get access to more vehicles and then they would just overrun you with them. One kind of counter argument that I came up with this is that, well, why not just have one helicopter spawn per side, and if the enemy team captures the enemy team's helicopter spawn, then it won't spawn for them, the enemy team just won't have access to that. And while I think that would be a fair compromise, then you still kind of run into the problem where, well, sure, you don't get 2 helicopters, but you have 1 helicopter, and you're just going to rain death down upon everyone because you don't have to worry about their helicopter now, and you can just destroy everyone. So I think I'm more in favor of what DICE currently has in place, and you know, it is frustrating when you join those matches, and I totally get it. But if you did this, or if you implemented the system that you have in place, right, or that you mentioned, it would lead to a lot of problems, I think. So the next question for today comes in from someone I'm going to call Enzo because I'm going to completely butcher that name. What do you think of Battlefield 4 being set in World War II? So I don't have a problem with this. I think it would be cool. I mean, really what it comes down to is more of an aesthetic thing where you're going to have different set pieces. You're going to be in different wars or kind of notorious wars during the time period. But other than that, it's still going to be a first-person shooter. What my one concern, though, is customization, because I think what a lot of gamers expect now, especially for first-person shooters, is being able to customize your soldier like crazy. I mean, for Battlefield 3, you probably haven't, I even haven't, unlocked every single attachment for all the guns in the game. I mean, it takes forever. And the same is true for the Call of Duty franchise. And I think people have come to expect a fair amount of customization when they get into, you know, a current first-person shooter. So one of the things that would be a challenge is if Battlefield 4 was set in World War II, was to try to figure out a system where you could have a lot of customization, because you're not going to be able to have super cool laser beams attached to your guns. You're not going to have all of these different gadgets by any means. So it's going to really be on the developers to try to figure out a system that works for the time period, but also gives the players a bunch of customization, which they kind of expect now for first-person shooters, and I could see that kind of being a challenge. But overall, I wouldn't mind if Battlefield 4 was set in the past, or, you know, during World War II. It could be pretty cool. So the final question for today comes in from the Bad Quality Troll, who asks, do you think that DICE should have implemented survivor points into the scavenger game mode? An example of this would be every minute that you stay alive during scavenger, you would be rewarded 50 points. I'd like to hear your opinion on this. Thanks a lot. So I do kind of get where you're going with this. You want the game mode to feel like you are truly a survivor after a large earthquake took place. You're running around, you're looking for ammo, you're looking for guns, you're killing your enemies, and you're trying to survive in a post-earthquake environment. And you want to incentivize players or reward players for staying alive. And I like that. It's a cool idea, but in the end, if this was added, I think it would just result in more people camping. People would find their favorite weapon, they would load up at the ammo crate, and then they would go hide in a corner for the entire game, shoot anyone that comes by, and just sit there racking in their survivor points. And maybe if you extended the time period to like 2 minutes, you get 50 points. I don't think that would be a huge negative on the game, and maybe it would deter people from just sitting in one location. But I'm sure people would still do it, and they would probably try to abuse it as much as possible. And I think it would slow down the pace of the game, and overall just not really add anything to it, and probably just be a negative. So cool idea. I do like how you're trying to incentivize people to stay alive longer, but in the end, I don't think it's needed for that game mode. And yeah. So those are all the questions I'm going to be answering for today. I would love to know what you thought about these 3 topics by leaving a comment down below. Like I said, if you would like to submit your own question for a future episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.